ICE is reportedly coming to Chicago, so we're going to give you some information on how to prepare. I'm Lilian Jimenez, the state representative of the 4th District and a licensed attorney, and I'm going to walk you through it.
State Rep Jimenez, we've heard a lot of concerned community members. What can folks do if they're concerned about being detained by ICE?
Well, the first thing is to remember that all people living in the United States have constitutional rights, regardless of immigration status. They have the right to remain silent. You don't have to sign any pieces of paper. You can ask for an attorney. And when you speak to an attorney, if you are afraid to return to your country, let them know that.
I know many people understand that when one community member is targeted, we're all at risk. How can people help right now keep us safe?
The most important thing here is to make sure we protect our community members. So there are a lot of ways you can get involved. ICIRR, the organization, has training so you can get involved. Also, if you see or hear anything, make sure you pull out your phone and record. Make sure you state the date and time when the recording is taking place. If you see someone being taken away, ask them their name. Ask them their name multiple times until they hear it. Make sure you ask them also for a phone number, someone to contact. And if you have time, ask them to remain silent. Remind them that they have constitutional rights. Remind them that the community supports them and cares for them. Make sure you stay at a safe distance. Do not put yourself in any jeopardy, because in that moment, what you want to do is make sure to protect the person who's being detained.
Should people who are mid-immigration proceedings or undocumented avoid going to work or school during this time?
This one is hard. We know that many people don't have the financial ability to stay at home and they have to go to work. Also, we don't want people missing important appointments like health appointments. We want to make sure people are still sending their children to school. So the advice here is make sure you seek legal counsel, create a family plan, and we have templates for all of that on illinoisimmigration.org.
We've also seen ICE setting up outside courthouses and tearing families apart as they go through the legal process. What can people do if they have a court appointment during this time?
Well, it's important not to miss an immigration court appointment. So what you can do now is actually you can request to have an online video appointment. So contact an attorney. We do have legal resources. At the state of Illinois, we've dedicated resources to the Access to Justice Project so you can have a legal counsel. We also have workshops, and right here we're going to drop the phone number and the website where you can schedule an appointment.
What can we learn from what's happened in LA and DC?
Well, it is important to note what's been happening in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., and also note the differences. In Washington, D.C., the federal government has a jurisdiction that they just don't have in Chicago. In Washington, D.C., they were using local police powers. In Chicago, they do not have local police powers. The National Guard cannot be called in to Chicago for local police powers, and that's why you've heard the governor saying we do not want or need the National Guard here. However, we do know that they can send in the National Guard as backup for federal immigration purposes. So what we expect is for them to be enforcing federal immigration law. What we don't expect and we won't accept is for them to violate our constitutional rights.
In Los Angeles, because it's closer to the border, the Federal Immigration Authority to enforce immigration law is also different than what it is in Chicago. So what we've seen in LA is a lot of racial profiling because of its proximity to Mexico. In Chicago, since we're further away, they don't have the same type of jurisdiction. So again, we do not expect constitutional violations in Chicago.
Is it safe to protest right now? We just saw the news that ICE is contracting with a firm that will allow them to hack any phone. And a veteran we just saw arrested by the FBI in connection with a protest that physically obstructed ICE agents, and he was charged with conspiracy. Should we cover our faces, stay home if we're at risk?
It's hard to predict what the federal administration would do, and it's safe to say we're in uncharted territory. However, it is our right to protest. It's our constitutional right to protest, and even our Attorney General of Illinois has said we have the right to protest and has encouraged us to do so. We need to make sure that we are standing up for our rights and our community's rights. But there are many ways to do that safely. We can make sure that we're protesting peacefully. We can make sure that we are protecting each other and looking out for each other. There are also other things you could do to be safe, which is wearing a mask, making sure you turn off your facial recognition on your phone, and making sure your family members know where you are. And lastly, make sure you write down the number of the National Lawyers Guild on your arm or somewhere that is visible to you, so that if in case you do need to call a lawyer, you have that number handy. Also, check out the link below for Know Your Rights info for protesters.
We have some really important cultural celebrations coming up, like Mexican Independence Day. Should people avoid these events?
So back to our first point, it's really important for folks to assess their personal safety. Think about what your position is, what your legal status is, and how comfortable you feel. But also make sure you ask the event organizers, do they have a plan? Check in with your rapid response team. There are many organizations that are planning right now to protect our community, and we may be working with different organizations throughout this period to make sure the communities are safe. So make sure you ask those questions before you go out, and also make sure you have your family safety plan. You do not need to open your door to anyone without a warrant signed by a judge. Report any ICE sightings to our Central Illinois hotline, 1-855-HELP-MY-FAMILY. If you see someone being detained by ICE, record it from a safe distance, ask the person for their name, and report it to the hotline. If you need to make a family plan, visit IllinoisImmigrationInfo.org.
This is not legal advice. For legal advice, speak to an attorney.
I'd like to share the 5 organizing principles from Free DC. Don't obey in advance.
Prioritize joy.
Take up space and be visible.
Work in solidarity.
Engage in strategic noncompliance and collective stubbornness.
Our rapid response teams are standing at attention. We have hundreds of trained volunteers, and if you want to get involved, we have upcoming Zoom trainings on how you can get trained.